Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset, is probably my least favourite Quest exclusive to date, and in my opinion, this is comfortably the worst Star Wars XR product released so far. Now, we don't have the best track record for Star Wars VR or XR games, but everything released before this is almost certainly better. Vader Immortal is better, Tales from Galaxy's Edge is better, Squadrons is definitely better, and this is just, I don't know who this game is for. It's such a weird blending and mixing and matching of VR and mixed reality. And blending those two things inherently isn't a bad idea, but the way it's done here is pretty awful. And that isn't where the issues stop. Now, this is a painfully short game. I completed this in one sitting. It took me an hour, or just over an hour, I think an hour and 5 minutes, to blast through all of the campaign. Now, this is the campaign here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters. Now, each of these chapters is a mixture of mixed reality third-person adventure, mixed reality races that you probably have seen in the trailers for this game already, and I'll touch on them a bit in a moment, and then VR sections where you get to fix pod racers and watch cutscenes play out around you. There's also an arcade mode. Now, this lets you play any of the 4 races that you'll experience in the campaign as many times as you like, and you can unlock different riders, different challenges. You can unlock Sebulba, you can unlock Stacker and Raka, Koi, I'm not even going to try and say this dude's name, Pagadi. I said it was actually very good. And you unlock them by completing challenges in the single player story, or you can just play as Volo, who's the main character that you play as in the game. And yeah, you get to replay one of the 4 races that you experience in the game. For a pod racing game, it's not a lot of races, not a lot of different races and variants to re-experience there. Then finally, we have the playset mode, which is honestly the shining star, a beacon of good times in this otherwise pretty terrible package. Now, the playset mode is the thing I'll show you last. I will save the best until last. And basically all it is a way to pose Star Wars characters, items, ships, weapons in your real environment and kind of play with them like they're action figures. I really like it. I wish this was just released on its own, or as a free thing that you could download and play with in MR, or for a small cost, because I can't see this alone being worth the cost of entry for this whole package, because the rest of the package is pretty terrible. Now, like most MR games now on the Quest, you have all the options of being able to move around the hollow table. This is where you're going to be seeing most of the MR action take place. You can grab the corners, you can resize it, you can make it massive so you're, sitting inside it. And look, it is cool. You can look at all these little details. I don't really have a problem with the aesthetics. I think ILM, LucasArts Games, whoever devved this, they always nail the aesthetics. Vader Immortal looked fantastic, Tales from Galaxy's Edge, fantastic. And this is the same. All the little details, it looks and feels authentically Star Wars. The problems arise when you actually play the content. Now let's jump into this as Volo. There we are. That's my pod racer. You can lean in and see it, which is, again, all very, very cool. They're my stats. Let me show you a race. Okay, let's just position this track a little bit lower. I think the races work slightly better when you're kind of looking down on them from a kind of a top-down perspective. They just feel a little bit more enjoyable, but they aren't particularly enjoyable. Now, when I first saw a trailer for this game, I knew this was going to be kind of a problem, at least for me. The races in this game, the pod races, take place in a way where the track is always coming towards you, and you can only ever see this far ahead. So what you can see right now, I'll get up and move around, what you can see right now, this is all I'll ever be able to see. Now, I could try and play the race from a side perspective and try and predict where the track's going to go, but that's never going to fix anything. You don't have enough visibility of what's coming up, which means the races devolve into kind of a skill-less, unfun experience of just holding down the trigger and just kind of hoping for the best. There's really no challenge in them. Let me just start the race. So you just hold trigger, and you've got a few other buttons for like boost or gadgets. The performance also isn't particularly good in this game. So here we go, I'm boosting along, and as you can see, like, I can barely see any of the track. It's like, the tracks are basically just long straight lines anyway, so you can't really go wrong. But like, in my personal opinion, there's no replay value here, there's no skill to this. You've got 4 different races that you can experience, and each of them is just holding down trigger, boosting when you can, and using your gadgets when you've got them. Now, the gadget that I have is like a barrel roll. There we go, does that. And once again, like, it looks cool, don't get me wrong. Like, having this out in front of me and seeing all this in my room, MR is great. Mixed reality is fantastic, and I do love seeing new applications for it. I just don't think this is a good one. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that the performance also isn't particularly good. And I mean that. It's strange. Every now and then I'll drop frames, or it'll kind of hang or hitch. And that's interesting. Oh my god, he's going to win. He's actually going to beat me. No, he didn't. I came first. And that's strange because the game isn't super like visually demanding, but every now and then it will just drop frames and it won't perform particularly well. I just don't know who this game is for. It's kind of feels like a box of toys, and maybe that is their intent. That's what they were going for. You know, they wanted it to feel like you were playing with a box of Star Wars toys. But I think if you're going to do that, there are ways to do that that could be way more fun. These pod races are not fun. They are sloppy, messy experiences that I have no desire to replay. I don't care that there are leaderboards. I do not want to replay any of these pod races. And I've just done one, which was horrible. Alright, here we go. Welcome to the VR sections of this game. Now, when I played through the entire story in one sitting, my initial feeling, my initial reaction, was that the VR sections might be able to save this game. Because they look pretty good. Like, they feel authentically Star Wars. I feel like I'm actually inhabiting a Star Wars environment, a Star Wars setting, the world of Star Wars. And I've always thought that.
Old energy drink?
Yeah, oh yeah.
To live on this stuff.
Whoop. I've always thought that about all of the Star Wars XR products. You know, Tales from Galaxy's Edge isn't fantastic, but it does a great job of making you believe you are in the world of Star Wars. What is that?
Oh, yeah. Paya made this for me after my first sweep race. Didn't even come close to the podium, but he thought a 19th place trophy would pick me up.
Hologram. Oh, that's gone. So these sections are kind of scattered throughout the campaign. There's a few of them. All of them are pretty hands-off, pretty simple, and pretty short. And the majority of the VR sections basically just have you watching a cutscene play out. Maybe a few characters are talking, and you're just kind of there observing what's happening. There's not much interactivity here. Right, let me go and turn that radio off, because it is going to annoy me, because people keep talking. Right, can you please shut up? Thank you very much.
I gotta get the binder coil working before tomorrow's race.
So, I think this section of the game pretty expertly shows the potential that could have been here, but was squandered or not capitalized upon. So this particular section of VR gameplay has you fixing the pod racer. Now, this is the most interactive part of the game. This is the part of the game that felt most like an actual VR game where I had stuff to do. Because, as I say, most of the other sections just had me watching cutscenes play out in real time in front of me. Hello, mate. All right, let me just take that. Thank you.
This thing even looks expensive.
Plug that into there. Very nice.
I think this is the first brand new part the pod racer has ever had on it.
Yep.
First.
Now we need to test it. Okay, let's get this diagnostics machine on.
We should test it out. Yeah?
Okay. Have to wait for the exact moment for that to happen. Yep, he has to go and stand there.
This binder coil redirects any excess energy to the engine. So, you might want to get out of the blast cone.
You're going to get blasted, mate.
Pretty big.
Don't worry about it. Okay, here we go.
I'd actually move, but...
Turn that on, and then let's do a quick check of the engines.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That was... You okay back there?
Best bit of the game, legitimately. Right, turn these all on. Now this runs a quick diagnostic.
I need to tell Sorna that I'm able to race
and it shows you everything you need to fix on the podracer. So we can see a few different points now that need fixing. Now my character has 4 arms, so when you get near something that needs to be interacted with, the right tool will appear from one of your other arms. So there is the screwdriver. Unscrew these. Now if this was a whole Star Wars VR or XR game about repairing Star Wars vehicles? What the heck? What do you... Oh, sorry, I've got to take the old one off. I would be so in. I would play the hell out of that. Can you imagine, like a mechanic sim in the Star Wars world where you're fixing TIE fighters and pod racers and X-Wings and, I don't know, Star Destroyers? Like, it would be phenomenally good. And I think that would be well worth the price of entry. Okay, I need a different tool. Gonna have my... Thank you. Like, this bit, and I'm not exaggerating, it was the best part of the game for me. Just this small bit here, where I'm fixing a pod racer before taking it out to race. And then you go and do the race, and you realise, no, don't do that again. Horrible. Right, unscrew that, get the old bit, throw that away, get the new bit, plug it in. And even this is painfully simplistic, you know. I just don't know what the thought process was. Can I have my tools, please? Behind this game, I don't know who the target audience are. It feels outdated. You know, there have been so many better mixed reality products since the Quest 3 and Quest 3S launched. I would kind of maybe have forgiven this if this came out at launch as a title to kind of ease people into using mixed reality, but that isn't the case. You're now coming a couple of years in. Thank you. And
all done. And it's not the moment before the
just
race
feels very outdated. Right, let's do a quick pump of the fuel, fill it up. Go. Put the fuel in, and then blast off. Wahoo! Oh, I've got to do this as well. Job done? Are we good? I think I've done it. Probably. There we go. That's me.
I should go say goodbye to Sorna. Bet she's interested.
Right. This is actually a really good example of how the game kind of plays outside of VR. So, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, this is actually really quite smart. This is a third-person adventure game that plays out on a hollow table in front of you. You can zoom out with the right stick, you can spin the camera, you can zoom in with the right stick, you can make it kind of really big. You can still obviously grab the corners and make it bigger if you want to, drop it down a bit, and you can play like this cool third-person adventure game in MR around you. And like, don't get me wrong, it looks cool. It looks really cool invading your actual space. But there's so little content here. There's so little substance. As I say, you'll have this whole game finished within an hour. Let's talk to this guy. About time you showed up. Where's Deland? That was a challenge. So I've unlocked some more stuff on my play mode now, where I can pose stuff in the room around me, which is cool. Right, let's leave. Zoom out a little bit. So my objective here is to find my kind of mentor. I don't know what she is to me. I don't think she's a relative, but she's like a mentor that I live with, and she's in here, and I need to say goodbye before I go and embark on my pod racing quest. Basically, the story of this game is you want to be a pod racer, or you were a pod racer, you crash out, you didn't do very well, and then Sebulba turns up with his like evil gang of baddies and kind of convinces you to race for him, and then you go on a very short quest. You do 2 races, and the game ends, and that's basically it. I mean, there's promise here, like this in MR and being able to, can I actually go in? Yeah, look, I can look inside, move all around it. But but that's more of a kind of a statement on how cool MR is, more so than a statement about how cool this game is, you know, moving all this stuff around, and I just really like MR. So I've gone inside a building there, and then I need to press continue to move into VR mode.
You okay?
And then we're back in VR.
Yeah, fine.
Hello. Now, don't get me wrong.
Gas and these torches, you gotta flush your eyes out sometimes.
Voice acting's fantastic.
Saw you working
Character
on
models
your
are great.
pod last night. Can it race?
We will see.
But there's just no substance here.
Semifinals now, so.
So your new friends came through with a part, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really nice. Really nice character models.
Just be careful out there, huh?
The kind of stuff you'd
Racing.
expect from the same
the
team that
track,
created
Sebulba, all of it. Just
Tales
I
from
can't.
Galaxy's Edge. Although, I don't know what's happening to her head right now. She's freaking out.
Never mind. You're gonna be fine.
I'm just going to leave. I'm going to leave, okay? It's getting emotional in here.
I'll do
You're
it.
starting to cry.
I mean, I'll be careful.
You also can't throw things very well in this game. Sometimes they just drop out of your hand and fall straight down. Two terrible examples right there. But yeah, and then that's the VR section done and we move on. That's kind of like the whole chapter of the game done there, and that took, what, 10 minutes? Right, here we go. The one bit I'm actually quite enthusiastic about. This is the playset mode, or the playroom mode, where you can just pose Star Wars characters, Star Wars items, in any way you see fit in your real world space. So if I want to put a little stormtrooper here doing this, and then I want to grab his crotch and make him do this dance, I absolutely can. That's completely fine. If I want to grab him by this blue ring and make him absolutely massive, I also can. This mode is so cool. It's just such a shame that this is attached to such a poor product. That is just not fun. Look at that. I'm going to have this big, like, he's like coming at me. He's like a giant monster in my space. Now, it isn't just stormtroopers. I've got a whole kind of toy box here of characters that I can drop into this world. Let's scroll through. Who else have I got? Let's get little R2-D2, shall we? So I could just have a tiny little mini R2, and I could put him in his hand, just like he's captured R2 and he's taunting me. So I could pop that there, and like he's holding it. Or I can... we've got like guns and things. I think the guns are down here. Or I can grab a blaster, and I can actually put that in his hand. So you see that there? It's like, oh, I've closed his hand. Oh, it's because the gun's really small. Can I take the gun? Let's make the gun bigger. Let's make the gun bigger. There we go. That's better, right? There we go. That's kind of, yeah, that's kind of right. That seems proportionate. Put that in there. Yeah, that's cool. Do you want it to be bigger? Do you want a bigger gun, mate? I'll give you the biggest gun I physically can. 200%. There we go. And then we could even grab his arm and we could point it. Oh, a bit wonky. We can point it at R2 like that. Grab his elbow. There's loads of different points of articulation, and it takes a minute to kind of figure out exactly how you want to position them. There we go, like that. So he's threatening to kill R2-D2 with his giant gun, and at the same time, he's going to be doing a karate kick. So, you know, great. Best bit of the game. Comfortably the best bit of the game, because I now have this giant stormtrooper in my room, and I can kind of like move around him, and I could position a ton of tiny stormtroopers underneath him. You know, I could plop him there, and I think I can just clone them by pressing B. There we go. So I've got all these tiny ones down here ready for bowling. Tiny stormtroopers, giant stormtrooper. What is the biggest I can go? Is it 200%? Yeah, and then an even bigger stormtrooper like looming behind him. You can make some wacky stuff. If you've got a lot of space, you can make some amazing things in this particular mode. And he's ridiculous. He's breaking outside the realms of reality. I love it. I think this playset mode is fantastic, but it's just attached to a product that I'm not particularly a fan of. I really like the Sebulba character model in this. Look at him. Such a cool little freak with his little dangly arms. This is getting a bit messy in here now. So I'm probably going to wrap it up shortly. Got to put this giant stormtrooper back in the toy box. There we go, put him back in there. Before I wrap this up, let me just show you that there are also vehicles, and that means there are also TIE fighters, which again, you can scale up, and you can just plonk them wherever you want in your room. You could make some amazing little dioramas, and there's even backdrops that you could put behind everything, and you can cycle through different backdrops. From the game, of course, not from all of Star Wars lore, which is a real shame. And you can scale those. I like that one. And you can put that behind. Like there. Put that there. So it's like coming through. You can do all kinds of weird things in here. And it's honestly the best part of the package. But it isn't enough to save the game. And there we have it. That is Star Wars Beyond Victory, a mixed reality playset. It's a strange, rushed feeling product that could have been something cool, but hasn't ended up being anything cool, really. The mode where you can pose things is awesome, but everything else, the story, the racing, the arcade mode, I found no fun there. It was just devoid of fun, very short, and very shallow. Very, very shallow. And that's a real shame. In my opinion, the worst Star Wars XR game we've had so far. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, please do leave a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you soon for another one. I'll actually see you in a minute, because I've got 2 videos out today. This one first, and another one at 6 PM UK time. So enjoy that if you watch it too. Take care. See you next time.